Welcome to Flying Ace RC Workbench. Today we'll be building the Flying Ace Vortex. It's a great sport pusher jet. It's extremely fast. With the right power setup, you can push 150, maybe even 160 with it. But you'll need to upgrade your spar to do that. Well, without further ado, let's get building. Okay, so the first pieces that we'll need, we're building the wing. So we're going to need your two wing halves, corresponding wing skins, your spar, and two servos. Now, I will go ahead and just add a note here. I've already centered them. If you haven't centered your servos, I'd go ahead and do that now. Alright, so first things first, move these to the side, and grab your wing halves, and let's go ahead and crank these right here, just like so. Grab your knife and perform a 45-degree bevel cut. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you cut through the paper, you can always come back with a piece of tape and repair it. Just like that. Do it here. We're also going to do it here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try to do it as good as you can. The other side, do the same thing. Alright, perfect. As you can see, we got our bevels. So now, this one start to bend over. Don't want to force it. But you do need to bring the bevel just a little bit more into the wing. Now, you should be able to fold over just like that. Nice. So let's go ahead and do that with the other side. Almost did down the wrong side there. Perfect. So now we should be able to fold these over. Relative ease. Okay. Now the next step, we're going to flip both of them over and press them together. Try to get them lined up. Like so. What you're going to do, tape over just like that. Grab your spar. No, don't grab the spar. Just grab this gap, tape it close up. Split it in half like so. Grab your hot glue gun. Fill this area with glue. Just one bead will do. Nothing crazy. More glue does not always mean more strength. It does always mean more weight though. This time flies very nice when it's light. Still flies good when it's heavy, but not as good. It's harder to land and launch for sure. The heavier they are, the harder they are to launch, and you gotta get good at these launches with these things. Build it light, it'll launch like a breeze. Alright, so now we've got to let this dry. Let's put some more glue in there. Flatten it out. Now I recommend using a scrap piece of foam for squeegeeing all the glue. I just burnt my fingers so times that it doesn't hurt anymore. So let that dry for approximately 25 seconds. It's not structural really, it's more just to bond the pieces together. So what you're going to do next is grab your spar. Now, if or when I kit this design, still kits for it, it will include a spar just like this. It's wood popular 1/4 inch spar. It's just long enough for this wing. Now if you look here on the plans or on the kit, there's score lines. That is for the spar. So go ahead, grab your hot glue, and run a bead of glue all the way down that line. You may not be able to see it on the camera, but trust me, it's there. Perfect. Just like that. Then we just line up the spar and press it down. This is where all the strength is going to be in this wing, in the spar. Now, if we used a foam spar, it wouldn't be strong enough. It would fold wings all the time, unless you use like a super light power system like an 1806. Right now, we're using a 2306 or 2205. That's what I recommend, unless you're going for insane speed. Perfect. So now, let that dry for approximately 30 seconds. Alright, great. So now we got our spar in. What we're going to do now is peel the paper off of this wing skin. Now, you do not want to peel any paper off the elevon. That would compromise a lot of the strength, and you'd probably end up with control surface flutter or just control surface bending and snapping. That's no good. But you can go ahead and pop out the servo cutout. Pop that out. Now you have a scrap piece of foam. But so we're just going to start at this edge. Peel the paper up. And peel all the paper off. You may not get it in one go, but that's okay. Just like that. See, I didn't get it all. Back to the other side. And peel the rest off. Now it should fold over the spar very nicely with a nice smooth airfoil. Go ahead, do the same with the other side. Pop that servo cutout and peel the paper off. This is a very good technique if you're going to be building Master Series plans. because you gotta learn how to peel the paper and form the foam, which is a little bit different than what we're doing here. We're just pushing it up against, and it forms it decently well on its own. That's just series planes you gotta personally form out on the edge of the table. So now that we got that, go look at the wingtips here. Notice it's very thick. We don't want that. So we're gonna put up, grab a knife, and extend it a lot. Now you could do it with a smaller knife, but I just like to extend my knife. So you do that, now you start making some very big bevels. Like that. Bigger the bevel, better. But this will do. Anything will really work. No, it's not necessary to make the plane fly. It'll still fly great, just not as fast. This moves a lot of drag. So we'll get rid of your little pieces of static foam, cling to everything. Now, as you can see, fold over the wing. We have a much nicer wingtip. Now, another thing we can do is make some bevels here and here. And that'll bring a nice trailing edge to the wingtip. Try to cut away from yourself, and especially avoid your forearm. May not look like I was cutting away from myself, but I was. Now, there you go. That looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and do the same to the other side. So do the other wing skin. Okay, there we go. Rid of scraps. Alright, perfect. So now we've pretty much finished the wing. Whoops. I did the bevel on the wrong side, but I did the bevel here, should have done it here. But that's okay, we'll just bevel both. That'll make it even more aerodynamic. It's up to you. To you, whatever you want to do with this plane. It's very forgiving. Okay, there we go. That works good. Alright, so the next step is we're going to glue these down here. So you grab your glue gun, run a bead on the spar. Okay, and run a bead the leading edge. And one more bead, trailing edge right here and right there. And you just fold it over. I like to pop up the aileron. Makes it easier to hold it down. Now you see I got a little bit of hot glue right here. Just wipe that off. You can always break it off after it's done drying, but I just like to do it as I build. So just hold everything down for approximately 40 seconds. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Run some glue down the spar. Leading edge. Trailing edge. Just a little bit right here. Fold it over. Pop the aileron. Could have done that before. Just hold that down until it's dry. Wait approximately 45 seconds for it to dry. Alright, so now that this is dry, we can come here and glue down the wingtip. Grab the glue gun and run a bead right there, and a bead right through here. Now I recommend holding it down to the tabletop with the aileron up. Just squish it down. You may burn your fingers, you may not. Depends on how hot your hot glue is and how used to being burned you are. It looks like a mess right now, but once we clean it up, it'll look just fine. Just hold that for about 30 seconds. Okay. Try to clean up the table to prevent denting to the foam. You don't want to have hot glue on the table. It'll make dents in the foam and it's not pretty. I like to keep my planes nice and clean. Alright, there's an extra lift this up. It'll be partly glued to the table, but that's okay. See, we've got little bits of foam of hot glue sticking here and there. Just peel it off. And there you go. We got a nice wingtip. Put this off right here. Nice thing about having a clean, smooth table, the glue comes off easy. Alright, now we move on to the other wingtip. Just doing the same thing, running a bead here, and one right here. And hold it down. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough to your standards. This plane, once you're done with it, will make a great race plane. It corners sharply when it's light, and it's super fast. I'm not sure if you can hear that. It sounds like we've got an F-16 going by. Low too. Alright, pop that loose. And remove these little bits of glue. Perfect. Now before we put the other skins on, we're going to install the servos. Right here. Now, my servos have really short cables on them, so I'm adding cable extensions. Normal servos won't need cable extensions, but mine have really short cables, so I need to. First thing you do is pass the little wire and cable through. Line up the servo. Just wiggle it down there. Will not be perfect, but it'll work. Now you notice it can kind of stick out. That's okay, because what we're going to do is grab our knife and make a 50% score, the same profile as the servo cutout on the top. Now, I did not do this in the plans because every build is slightly different and they might not line up. So now just grab like a screwdriver or anything. I'm just going to use my knife because that's all I've got with me right now. And first, peel up the paper a little bit. See, got a little square of paper. Now I could come in with the film. I'm just going to use my cable extensions to hog it out because that's all I've got with me at the moment. I didn't do my due diligence and grab a screwdriver or something. As hard as some foam out or there, it should come out nicely. Doesn't have to be perfect, just get it all mostly out from that little rectangle we made. If you can't get it out, just squish it down. Alright, let's do this again. Grab our servo, feed the wire through, like so, and push it down. And this time, as you can see, it's nice and flush. And like I said earlier, I already centered my servos. So if you haven't done that already, I would do that now. Just like that. So we're going to pop the servo out and put some glue on the back side of the servo and in the hood. One or the other. Not both. Just one or the other. I like to put it directly on the servo. Makes it easier to work with. Okay, just rotate it and stick it down. Perfect. Now let's hold that for a little bit of time until it dries. Now we can go ahead and grab our cable extension and connect it to our servo. Bingo. Let that dry. You can go ahead and move on to the other side now. Go and do the same thing. Hogs, cut, not hog that foam yet. Cut out a little rectangle. So. Peel the paper off. The reason I peel the paper off first is it makes it a whole lot easier to get at everything else. The foam is not going to come out if the paper isn't there yet. Okay. Grab another servo punch. And pull out the foam. There you go, just like that. There you go. Alrighty, grab your other servo, stick the wire through, and let's give it a test fit. Wiggle it, don't just jam it, wiggle it in. There you go, pop into these slots. And there you go. Fold it up again. I will rotate it this time so you can actually see what I'm doing. And I do also recommend scratching up the surface of your servo. It'll make the glue stick. Ready? Fold that down. Pull on your servo lead. And there you go. Go ahead and grab your servo extension wire. Plug it in. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and make some bevel cuts for the L ones. Keep saying A ones. L ones. 45-degree bevel cut. Go to the other side. Same thing. Perfect. Now the ailerons should go up and down. Now you notice the catching right here. What you can do is take your knife and very, very gently cut the tiniest sliver off the aileron. Like that. Alright, and that should prevent it from catching. And it does. Now you got your aileron moving smoothly. This one already moves smoothly, so we don't need to do anything with that. Alright, perfect. So now we're gonna make a hot glue hinge. You will need a scrap piece of foam for this one. Grab your hot glue, open up the hinge, and run a small bead. Not much, just a little bit, a small bead down the hinge line. Perfect. Now grab your scrap piece of foam and push it up against and draw it back. You should have a bunch of excess glue on your scrap piece of foam. Now we let it dry like this, still holding it up, keeping it up, and we'll let it dry like that. If it's still kind of tacky, don't fold it over. Do the same with this side now. Small bead of glue. Okay. And scrap piece of foam. And we got a little bead of glue in the scrap piece. Okay. Perfect. Now we just let these dry. And while we're waiting for these to dry, we can go ahead, grab our wing skins. Now I call them wing skins because I couldn't think of any other better name for them. They go like this. First things first, figure out which side they go on, and then make a little bevel on this side. The side that has the markings on it. Make the bevel on the side that has markings. Very important that you do, or otherwise you'll have it for the wrong side. Go ahead. Make the bevel. Perfect. Now, as you can see, it will fold over and end up like this. First, now you gotta peel the paper right off this side, just like we did with these wing pieces. This one shouldn't be hard to get in one go. Perfect. See if these are dry. Yes, they are dry. So now, as you can see, we got some nice hinges. They're not likely to be laminated. Okay, so now flip the wing over. Grab this. Grab your wing piece. And butt it up like that. Now you can see I need to run a piece of tape for the hinge. Grab a piece of tape. Stick it to the hinge. Rub it smooth. And then at this point. Swing it over. Line up the other edge. Don't stick it down hard yet. That one, you're still lining it up. Once you got it perfectly lined up, then you can stick down the tape to the main wing. This is probably the hardest step in the whole process. Just saying something that's not actually a very hard plane to build. It looks hard, but it's actually not. Okay, perfect. Stick that down, grab your knife, and cut off the excess. Perfect. So now, as you can see, we've got a little tape hinge. Perfect. Flip it over. See, folds over just like that. You got a nice smooth airfoil. Right here is where a vertical stabilizer goes. Perfect. Now there's one small mod you gotta do, and that is bevel, make a bevel on the trailing edge right there. Not 100% necessary, but it makes it easier when joining the wing to the fuselage, and it improves aerodynamics. Now, if you didn't know, I'm all about speed and aerodynamics, so you'll probably hear me say that a lot in my videos. I'm going to do it to the other side, because now I have the opportunity. Now, I personally, when I cut through hot glue, I like using an old blade because hot glue dulls knives, but I don't have an old blade handy, so I'm just going to try to get it as close as I can. That's squishy. Perfect. So I'm going to bring all the wires to one side. That's to fold it in. Once you think you've got it good, then we can just lay some glue on the spar, leading edge, and then just run some on the front and back, and some on the trailing edge too. And you can also run some right here, but I like to do that after, or not at all. It doesn't make a very big difference in the strength of your aircraft. So let's hold that down, like so. And try not to squish this gap right here. We want to keep this about the same thickness as a piece of foam. Because otherwise you'll have to cut it out and make it harder to install your vertical stabilizers. Hold this down for approximately 40 to 45 seconds. Alright, well there you go. And you can see we got one half of the wing done. And as you can see, we do have the smallest gap right here. What you can do is fill it with glue, or you can just grab a piece of tape and cover it up. I'm not going to do anything about it right now. I will do it though after we install the vertical stabilizers, which is after we're pretty much done with the plane. It's one of the last steps. Perfect. Now you can grab your knife. Then right next to the spar, right here, we're going to make a small notch. We're going to make another one, just a little bit, right next to it, and basically cutting out a little square. Like that, right next to the spar. And this is for the wires. That way we can have the wires poking out without damaging it. Perfect. So now we grab another wing skin piece. This one's for the left side. See, it goes just like that. go and pull down our ailerons. And we can go ahead and make the bevel right here. Perfect. Just like that. I'm going to grab a small piece of tape and tape down the servo wires. Just barely tack it down, especially since we're using packing tape. We don't want to rip any paper, so just lightly, very lightly tap that tape down. And then, now to bevel this, we can peel the paper. Perfect. See, it goes right there. Again, let's flip our wing over. Alrighty. Line it up. You can see how it goes. Piece of tape. Piece of tape on your piece. And line it up. Perfect. And now fold it over. The only thing I will go ahead and do is you can see these little bumps right here. That's because that's where our CG is. We put holes in the wing where the CG is. So instead of just having little bumps, I'll pop the tape basically. That way, after we paint it, we can still see where our CG is by two little X's. Perfect. It over. See? Now, right here, if you notice, I just now noticed this. Right here, the tape is for. That's not a big deal. I'll show you how to fix that. Grab another piece of tape. Stick it on the top like so. And then pull it tightly over. Very tightly. And then bring it over to the other side. Just like that. Fix the leading edge. This one is not doing that, so we're good at that. So let's go ahead and grab a hot glue gun. Run some hot glue down the spar. Leading edge. Some on the front. And the trailing edge. Perfect. Now, just fold this down. So. Just like that. Alright. Now we got that done. Now we can just fill in this crack right here. Once again, oh wait, no. Hold that thought. Let's take this piece of tape up, peel it off. See, we did it so lightly that we had minimal tearing. Now it's fine if you do tear it just a little bit. I mean, I still recommend painter's tape, but this part won't be visible. Now if you feel the wing, it's very stiff, but we can go ahead and cut out another rectangle right next to the last one we did, just to make things even. It's not even necessary, but it makes it look good. Perfect. Just like that. Now I am going to go ahead and run a piece of tape. Run a piece of tape straight down it. Don't worry about the servos, servo wires, they'll be okay. We'll cut them out. Like that. Grab your knife. Make a couple slits for the servo wires. just like that. Perfect. Then we just fold over the ends. And there you go. We have finished the wing. First step in your journey to building the Vortex is done. Great. Now you finished building your wing. You can just set it to the side and grab your pieces that are labeled F2 bottom, F1 bottom, and skin 3 bottom. And as you can see here, we have score lines. So just gonna grab like a pen, or in this case, mechanical pencil, and just push it down into those grooves to widen them into a small valley fold. Just like that. Do it on both sides. Don't push through all the way to the paper, because it could tear your paper and ruin your part. Perfect, just like that. And as you can see, part bends. Perfect. Okay, now you grab your former labeled F1 bottom. As you can see, the F1 former is a little bit bigger than the F2. As you can see, this side of the skin is a little bit bigger than this side. So the F1, the bigger former, is on the bigger side. Grab your glue and just run a bead of glue right down this edge right here. Just like that. And then carefully line it up. Like so. Go ahead and let that dry. While we're waiting for this to dry, what we can do is go ahead and glue on the F2. Now, same principle. Just running a bead of glue right down the back edge. And gluing it down on this edge right here. Now, some glue will smear out right here. You just wipe that off. So a scrap piece of foam or your finger if you're comfortable with being burnt. Now we really do just have to let this dry for about 30 seconds. Alright, that looks pretty good. Things mostly dry. As you can see, when we fold this up, the edges line up just about perfect with that former and with this former. That's good, that's what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and bend it backwards, cracking every single one of these score lines open to bend it backwards like this. What you're going to do is run a bead of glue on each of these formers, and then I'm going to run some beads of glue down each of these score lines. Start with the formers, going to make it quick. I find it easier to do one side of the skin at a time, otherwise your glue might cool off too quickly. Perfect, just do one side at a time. Turn that up. Using a table as a friend, like Josh Bickford always says. And there you go. Hold this for approximately 40 seconds. Now that that's dry, we can do the same thing to the other side. So glue on the formers. And then down the score lines. Perfect. Now we just fold this up and use the table and roll it over. Just adjust the former just a little bit, make sure it all lines up. And hold this for about 45 seconds till it's dry. Great. Now you finish that, you can put that to the side as well. Grab the pieces F2 bottom and F3 bottom and skin 4 bottom. Same thing as before. Grab a pen or mechanical pencil or anything else really. That'll work for this instance. And just run it down these score lines. Perfect. Now I can bend. Just slowly, just sort of bend it up. Using both hands this one because this is a bigger skin. You don't want to crease the foam anywhere you don't want it to be creased, like this way or this way. You just want it along the score lines. Perfect. And then you just squished it basically into going into that shape. You can let go. And grab your F2 bottom former. Glue and just run a bead down the bottom edge, like so. And butt it up against the wider side of skin 4. Just like that. Perfect. And let that dry for about 15 seconds. Because we're not doing anything with it just yet. So 15 seconds will be fine before you move on. Okay, now grab your F3 bottom former. Now we're doing this a little bit differently. This one does not get glued on the edge here. It gets glued on in the middle. Doesn't have to be exactly the middle, but roughly the middle. So we're going to be glued down the bottom edge, just like so. And check it like that. Make sure it's lined up. And I'll let this dry for about 30 to 40 seconds. Alright, great. This is dry. We can do what we did before. Let's basically crack this open. Do it slowly, not all at once. There you go, until it pops. You can go ahead and do it the other side too. Perfect. Put some glue on the formers, the edges of the formers. So. And then bead down the creases on the skin. Sorry, you might not be able to see what I'm doing there, but still getting used to doing build videos. Okay, hold it against the skin like that. Okay. Hold the skin against the table like that, and then roll it over. And hold it there for about 45 seconds. that's dry, you can do the same thing with the other side. And some glue on the edges. And then down the creases. It isn't much, just a small bead. Now roll it up against the table. Just like that. Hold this down for another 45 seconds. Alright, great. Now that that's dry, we can just put that to the side and move on to the next part. You want to grab skin 5. And right here, there's a very small score line. You can kind of see notice the direction of these cuts on the far left. You don't want to pop that out. There you go, take that little paper foam, you're left with a little paper flap right there. Perfect. Grab your pen or pencil and do the same thing with all the score lines that we've been doing this whole build. Perfect. And as you can see, these slots are for our wing. So that means this bit right here is the bottom. Which means you want to fold it up very carefully. Trying not to put any pressure up here at all, especially above the notch for the wing, because that will make the part bend, which is, I mean, you can still build just fine, but it wouldn't look as good. You have an ugly crease. Okay, basically bend it up like that, and as you can see, that would bend down like so. Alright. Perfect. Now I'm going to grab this piece right here, because these two pieces join together like so. So we will have to, since there's no former on the back of this one or on this one, when we glue this together, we will have to form them with our fingers. Alright. I may have actually said something wrong here. I think. Sorry, it's been a while since I built this plane. I ran so many versions of it, but I've only built it a couple of times. Doing a lot in 3D for this thing. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually the bottom. This area is the bottom. So you're probably going to get creases here and here, but don't worry about it. It'll be fine. So what we're going to do is just going to be glue right there. Right by that paper tab. And we're just going to fold this over. Hold it up against the table. Or don't. I'm not actually. It's easier just to hold it like this. Pinch it. Hold it tight and pinch it. And hold that for about 20 to 30 seconds. Alright, there you go. Now as you can see here, it did bend right here. And right here. But we can easily reshape that easily, and we don't end with ugly score marks. So don't worry if you get bent there. The score marks will appear on the inside, but not on the outside. So you're all good there. Great. So now you're going to want to grab the skin, and notice the bottom here has the paper tab that we fold over and glue together. So make sure that's the bottom. This is also a bottom skin. gonna try to line them up. Just like that. That's how they line up. Grab your glue and then run a bead of glue all on this edge right here. Just like that. Now grab each skin in a different hand. And first start with the edge like this and bring it over, carefully squishing it apart if you have to as you go. Now you can hold it just like that and form certain areas as you let it cool. Now this part I know many people struggle with, and that's okay. This is a harder build. This plane is not super easy to build, but it's not ultra hard either. So I'd say this is an advanced build, but nothing too crazy. Go ahead and let that dry. Okay, once you've done that, see you got it all together. And you grab this other piece right here, skin 3. We're going to line it up. The smaller end of this to the bigger end of this. They get glued together like that. Pretty simple. Just grab your glue, put a bunch of glue on this former, and then some on the edge. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is a pretty simple step. Hold it upright. I found that makes it easier. Start with one edge and work your way down. And you can just hold it there till it's dry. It does help sometimes to grab it by the formers, kind of slightly squish them together. Not too hard, just a little bit, just to let the glue squish into all the joints. Get rid of all the stringies. Alright, I'll let that dry for about 30 seconds. Now I'll say about 30 seconds, about 4 seconds. It all really depends on how hot your glue gun is. Because I have mine set to low, and it dries fairly quickly. But if I had set it to high, it would take like 1 minute and 30 seconds to dry. So it all depends on how hot your glue gun is. Perfect. Perfect. So now you're going to grab your wing. As you can see here, it will slot in right here. We'll slide it in. You can see that's these notches of force for the back of the drone into this wing. Slide it in. Make sure it's centered. That's very important. Make sure it's centered. And we will glue it on just like that. Okay. Slide it down. Grab your glue. Now I will make sure it's a little hotter this time. Glue on the formers. Nothing too excessive. On the edges of the skin. Former. Skin. I do find it easier to drag the glue gun than to push it. Now don't worry about skin in these notches yet on skin 5. We will do that after. Otherwise it gets ultra hard to glue this wing on. Okay, so grab your piece in one hand, grab your wing in the other. Line up the tail notch. Slide that in. Make sure it's lined up. And then glue the rest of the wing on. Just set this down now. And apply firm pressure to the wing. And hold that for about 40 seconds, maybe even a little over a minute if you need to. We need this to be a very firm hold. It is very structural, so we need to make sure this dries nice and hard. Okay, that's good enough. See here? All attached. So now we will go back with the glue gun and only glue on the bottom half of the notches on this skin. We don't want to do the top yet, because that needs to be bent forwards to meet the other skin, which we will glue on in just a minute. Okay, so let's run a little bit of glue down the side right there. That'll work. Try to do the same with the other side. Alright, great. Now that you've done that, grab your electronics. I got my motor. I've already mounted it to the firewall. There will be a video on how to do that. Link in the description below. We've already figured out motor direction. We'll also have a link to that in the description. And I got my ESC. So first things first is to feed the wires through. You'll see, just gently push and pull everything. Perfect. Now this will get lined up just like so. Just like that. Bingo. So pull this out again. Grab your glue gun. Run it all around the firewall. Now my firewall is white because this one is 3D printed. But wood, laser cut wood, would also work just fine. If I ever do make kits for this, you will know if you're watching this video if I'm making kits or not. You'll probably know. It'll be made of wood, not 3D printed. Wood is a lot stronger and more resistant to heat. So just try to keep it so without any thrust angle, because when you're running this light of a power system, thrust angle is not really something you need to worry about. It's really light. If you can do anything, just add a little bit of thrust, which is having the motor point up, the back of the motor point up just ever so slightly. It's the same for pushers and tractors alike. If you want up thrust, flatten the motor, points up. Go ahead and let that dry for about 30 to 40 seconds. Now that you've done that, you can go and grab the skin labeled Skin 4 Top. Grab your pen or mechanical pencil or whatever you're using. Well, I got glue on the table. Okay, whatever you're using, and crease the score lines. You can go multiple passes, but like I said earlier, you don't want to cut through the paper. Even something blunt can still tear through paper. It's very easy to do, and I've made the mistake before. If you do, all you do is come with a piece of tape and patch it up. Alright, perfect. Now I've done that, we can bend it like so. Just keep working that. Make sure it's nice and even. Perfect. Now this piece, move all the electronics forwards, go right here. Now there are no formers for this piece because all of our electronics run through here, so we don't want the formers to be in the way, obviously. That is why there's no formers for this piece. Now if you look at the side view here, you'll notice that this edge is raised up. That's because this is a flat edge, this is a rounded airfoil. There are several ways to combat this. One, you could ignore it. Two, you could squish it. Or three, you could come at it with your knife. I'm just going to go for option two. I'm just going to squish it. What we'll do is come in right here, sort of push down with your fingers, drilling in towards the inside. And they will squish the foam and make it more likely to go with the airfoil. See, still looks good on the outside. Just like that. See, when now we put this there, we don't have as much of a gap anymore. Do this a little bit more on the top. Making sure you push down on it to actually crush the foam, not just bending the foam. We're actually trying to crush the foam. Like that. Now, the rest is up very nicely. Perfect. Now I'm actually going to set this to the side now. We're going to grab this skin, skin 2, in the former F1 top. Do the same thing like you normally do. Is that we're going to crease all the score lines, but there is a little difference. On this one, you got little paper tabs on the ends of each side right here. These little thin ones, about 5 millimeters across. Now pop those out like you would with a B fold or an A fold, just like so. Same right here. Alright, and now we're going to crease all of the score lines. If you're doing one pass, if you're doing two, doesn't really matter as long as it gets the job done. Some of these I am going back to do two, but not all. These ones right here on the ends are very easy to bend, so we're just going to carefully do these, like so. Perfect. And now we're going to bend it up. Perfect. We'll just like that. And as you can see on the top here, front, and top, bend these, like so, bend them. Bend right here. Perfect. Because these right here, this gets glued on like so. And that is actually what we're about to do. You don't have to put glue in these score marks like we did on the bottom. I'm not for ease of build and simplicity, but you can if you're worried about strength. I have found that the nose does not break anywhere in here. If the nose does break in a hard crash landing, it'll break right here. It'll just break clean off the joint at the joint, which makes it easy to repair. All right, some glue right there. And like I was saying before, the nose breaking off. Trust me, I've put a 1200 watt power system into the Radjet. Sorry, excuse me. Vortex. I have a Radjet. I took electronics from my Radjet. Excuse me. This is the Vortex. I put 1200 watt power system into this Vortex and a 1200 watt power system into the Hot Beacon Radjet. And this takes the power system better than the Radjet did. The Radjet blew apart into pieces midair. Whereas this one, I had to go into a steep dive at around 160 miles an hour to blow it apart. So there's something to say about its durability. Now, I did have a carbon fiber spar with that one just because of how heavy it was. But for this build, we're running normal lighter electronics. That'll still get this thing to about 120 easy. And the wood spar will be plenty strong. Alright, there you go. As you can see, there's the nose. Now we can come back over here and do pretty much the same thing to the back. Make sure everything gets back where it should. And just put a little bit of glue right there. Great. Now that that's dry, grab our former labeled, the one that's labeled F1 top. We're just going to run some glue on the edges, on the top and side edges. And we're going to put it right there. Alright, go ahead and grab your glue gun. I'm going to glue through it. On it, I mean. Sorry, this is my first build video, so let me know in the comments below how I can improve. Okay. Line this up. Squish the edges like so. And just smear it off with a scrap piece of foam or your finger if you're fine getting burnt. And hold that for about 20 seconds until it's dry. Alright, great. Now that I've got that, we come around to the front here and see how we would mount up. Get all the wires out of the way for now. Put them back there. See, we got these little slots here for the wing. Helps line everything up. You're also going to want to line it up with the bottom right there. Slowly, surely. Slowly come on. Now, every build is different. Every single one. Doesn't matter if they're laser cut, hand cut, CNC. Doesn't matter. So every single one is going to be a little different. So, as you can see here, these aren't far enough forward for this build because this wing might be a little farther forward. So, what we're going to do, grab our knife, grab our part, take it, and just make this bigger. Now careful when cutting towards yourself. Try to always cut away from yourself. I'm cutting towards myself just for this video so you can see what I'm doing. On the other side, I'm going to do it when cutting away from yourself. Just make it a little bigger. Believe me, you do not want to cut yourself. It's not that it hurts, it's that it's dangerous. Blood everywhere. Why would you want to get blood on your plane? Anyways, jokes aside. Make this a little bit bigger. Shouldn't have to do this, but with some, like this one, actually I hand cut this kit. This is a pre-release model, so I hand cut this one from plans. So the laser cut version, if I do make kits, will be a little bit more precise. But if it is still off, just do that. Cut it a little bit bigger. Now, as you can see, this time, it all lines up. Perfect. Let's grab your glue gun. And we're going to run, hold on, actually, hold that back. I thought so. I missed a part. It's an F1 bottom former. It goes right here. So we can go ahead and just put that in there. It helps with strength mostly. That's its only purpose. Because this part holds its shape very well. But having this extra former in there and gluing it to that former right there will increase strength by a lot and help keep your nose on there if you crash it. Which only reason your nose pops off is it's obviously very long. So it's the first thing that hits the ground. Because it's long, it's like a lever. That's what makes it want to come off during a crash. But, like I said, they're very easy to repair. Okay, there you go. Sort of push that on there. Try to get it perfectly lined up. If you can't, no big deal. Like I said, you don't even need this former, but it helps with strength. Okay, go ahead and just let that dry, or even partially dry. And get all the hot glue off your fingers from putting that on at the wrong time. No, it is at the right time, but still, like I said, this is my first build video, so it's not amazing. Okay, so now we can glue this on. Hot glue on this former that we just put on this edge right here, on the top of this former, the bottom of this former, and in these edges, these cutouts for the wing. Perfect, just like that. And now, grab this, look at it straight down front, top front-ish, to help you line it up. You can see it's not perfectly lined up. Just gonna squish this on. Squish it together. And there you go. Just apply pressure and let it dry. Alright, great. Now this is all dried. What we'll do, grab your knife, and this former right here, we're just going to cut a little hole, all of our wires to go through. So we got our battery lead and our servo and signal wires. Just put your knife through there. So, make a little square or something. Rectangle doesn't really matter, as long as it's big enough for your parts to go through. Okay, take off all the foam that you just cut. Perfect. Now, as you can see, we can pass our battery lead through, like that. And we can pass our servo wires through easy. And our ESC signal wire. Bingo, just like that. I'm not going to glue the ESC down or anything. It'll stay nicely in that little skin once we get it on. Okay, next up, grab skin 3 top. And your remaining F1 top former. Now, as far as this former goes, the F1 top, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out a cavity for the wires. So just cut on something that your fine getting scratches into. Like, I don't want to scratch out this desk yet. So I'm going to use this little box. Sorry you can't see that, but I don't want to cut myself again. Doesn't have to be even, but I like it even. So there we go. Like that. Okay, go down. Now grab your skin, use your pencil or pen, and crease the score lines. Bingo. Now you can bend it like so. Perfect. As you can see, it has a bigger side. And that side goes towards the front of the plane. And grab a former and some glue on the top edge. Perfect. And line it up with their skin. Just like we've done a lot of the other skins. So you should have this technique down by now. If you don't, that's okay. There's only one way to learn. Okay, make sure that's dry. There you go. Okay, now like normal, crack these open. I like to hold it like this so it makes a little triangle, so it's easier to get glue into the cracks. Alright, run the glue through them now. And on the former. Just like that. Oops, don't do that. Alright, now grab your skin and roll it over the former. Careful not to bend the former now, because this little cutout we made, now it's not as strong. So you gotta be careful not to bend your former. Now just hold that till dry, about 20 to 40 seconds if your hot glue isn't too crazy hot. Alright, great. That's dry. Do the same thing with the other side. A little triangle. Throw glue into these creases. And on the former. Alright. Roll it up. Just like that. Now let's hold that till it's dry. Great. Now that that's dry, we can line it up right here. You can see I should line up fairly well, like so. Pull it off again. Put some glue on the former and on the bottom edge of the former as well, and on the bottom edge of the skin. Perfect. Now let's line it up. Nice thing about hot glue is that even though once you push it down, you still have a little bit of time to work with it. Not too much time, you have a little bit. Perfect. It's all lined up. Now let's hold that until it's fully dry, about 30 to 40 seconds. Alright, great. Now that that's dry, we can grab our skin 4 top and line it up like so. Now on some builds, I've noticed that we get gaps. Like in this one right here, we got a big gap right here. So I'll show you how to fix that in just a second. But first, we want to crease this a little bit more. Really crease it this time. Just like so. Now I'm gonna line it up. We're gonna line up with this skin right here. See, like that. Now I can always come back and bevel the top if it protrudes a little bit. Grab a glue gun. Throw some glue right here. And on the back edges, bottom edges, excuse me. Put that there. Spin around to look at both sides. That's very important. Okay, perfect. Just hold that till dry. Now I am saying just till dry now because I've noticed some parts take longer to dry, some take shorter. So I'm just going to say till dry from now on. Great. Now that you've done that, I can show you how to seal up this gap right here. What you're gonna do, look for some scrap foam, kind of like this, or stuff like this from the bevels. We're just gonna lay it in here. So first, figure out how big of a piece we need. You just tear it, just like that. Just like so. You can see it makes a very good gap filler. Now you might be wondering why there is a gap in the first place, and I'll tell you, it's because the angles, when they go from flat angle to this angle to this angle, and each part has a flat edge, we're going to end up with like a V. That's how we get gaps. So this is the best way I know how to fix that. Great. Grab your glue gun, or you could even put this on and then put glue on the edges. Make it a lot easier. But I am just going to grab this piece and some glue on it. Try to lean towards one side of the piece. And do the same with the other side. Perfect. Now we can just lay this down. And the glue on it should be here. And just hold that for about 20 seconds. Or wait, no. Like I promised earlier, till dry. Glued my finger to it. No worries. Just peel that up. Alright, nice. Now we've got that gap filled. Come back around to the front. We're going to grab this piece. It's labeled Skin 1. Right here, hold it up to where all the score lines are facing you. All the way to the right, we've got this little piece right here. It's a lot thinner than the rest. It's actually not. It's about the same thickness, but this piece, we're gonna pop out just like that. Leaves the paper tab. Be careful not to take this area because this is actually part of the skin. This is just a paper tab. Grab your pen and pencil. Increase the score lines. Perfect. Just like that. There we go. Now we can roll it. Just like so. That's how it goes together. So grab your glue gun. Sorry. Should be saying that to the plane. Put some glue on that tab. Just like some of the other pieces we've done. Glue it up. Try to focus on the glue globs that will squirt out. You can always break those off once it's cooled. I'm not. I'm just gonna hold it like this and pull it off. Now, hold it till dry. Now that that's dry, we can glue it under the front here. Now if you look here, you'll see this side's narrower, this side's wider. Narrow side is down. Grab your glue gun and run the glue all the way on the edge. Doesn't have to be a super thick bead. Just an average size bead of glue. Like that. Grab your plane and join the two pieces. I like to use the bottom edge as a hinge basically. Glue the bottom edge and then rotate up. Okay. Like that. Perfect. Now let that dry and we'll put the tip on. Alright, great. Now we can build the little nose right here. So you can grab this little piece right here that's labeled nose and your knife. You're going to want to extend your knife and make some bevels. Start at the edges here. Start with a 45-degree bevel like that. Then I'm going to come in here. I'll make some really deep bevels. Just keep beveling it. Especially focusing on making it super thin at the point. Okay, now I should have done this before, but it'll still be fine. Grab our pencil and crease the score marks. Okay. Sort of bend it. Try to bend it all the way around. Like so. You can roll it on your finger or whatever. Just try to keep from bending in the wrong areas. Okay. Now you can see it rolls up nice to a point. So what you want to do is grab a very small piece of tape. Nothing too big, just like 2 centimeters long. Put it on one side like this. It's like that. Now you can grab your glue gun and put glue, just a very, very small bead on one side. Very small bead all the way to the point. Perfect. Now we can roll this back and then use and fold that piece of tape over. Which also helps a lot with as it cools, that tape will keep it in shape. Just sit there and let that dry. Now that that's dry, grab our knife and make a slight bevel on the inside of this. As you can see, it's kind of at an angle like this. Do that on all 4 sides. Like that. Great, perfect. Alrighty, now that you've done that, grab your glue gun. Now be aware of which side narrower. The side that you creased, that you glued together, should be the bottom. Okay, grab your glue gun. Yes, you're going to bead all the way around the edge. Perfect. Okay, bring it here, hold it there, and there you go. Got the nose on. Perfect. Now the next step is we're going to be working on the canopy. So let's grab those parts and get right to it. Alrighty, So you want to grab the parts labeled Canopy and Canopy Former. Just grab your pen or pencil, increase all the score lines on the canopy. Just like so. Okay, now slowly bend it, just like that. As you can see, our canopy former will go about a third of the way in. Alrighty, so grab your glue gun, just run a bead down the top, just like so, and put it roughly a third in from the back. Doesn't have to be exact, but it's normally about 1/3. Okay, just like that. Now we can pop these out just like we normally do. Okay, perfect. And we can sort of bend them to the rough shape, just like that. Alright, grab our glue gun, making that little A, the canopy. Put some glue down the creases and on the former. Great. Roll that up. Hold it there until it's dry. Okay, now that that's dry, do the same thing to the other side. In that little A, glue down the creases and on the former. Just like that. Now we just roll it up using the table. Hold it there till dry. Alright, great. Now that that's dry, you can make a quick little test fit on the plane. Looks pretty good. We just gotta make a little bit bevel right here. Grab your knife. Make a bevel that gradually recedes into nothing. Same thing the other side. Bingo, there's our canopy. Now, how we attach the canopy, I mean, you could use magnets, little tab right here, magnet here, and magnet on the tab, and another tab right here, down here. And that's what I normally do, but for this one, I'm thinking going a lot simpler. I'm gonna grab a little bit of tape and put it right there, fold it over. Same thing on the other side. Tape, fold it over, just like that. Now, you grab this, press it on, and see where our tape is. Grab a piece of tape and fold it over at the ends, just a little bit of fold over, so you can peel the tape back whenever you're using the hatch. Perfect, just like that. Grab your piece of tape, bring it over the canopy. Bingo, just like that. Now we can take our canopy on and off whenever we want to, and it won't come off during flight, unless you're going too fast. But with these power systems, this shouldn't blow off even at 120. Might at around 150 though. That's when you'd want more of a magnet system or a screw. Alright, great. We're on the home stretch here. Alright, edit that out. Alright, great. Now we're on the home stretch. Now, what you want to do is grab your vertical stabilizers. These. Pretty simple. They just slot in right here. Same on this side. So all you need to do is run a bead of glue right down the bottom of one of them. Make sure this is a thicker bead of glue though, because then it'll kind of seep towards the cracks and the edges. It'll make it a much stronger bond. Okay, push that in, we'll go from side to side. Make sure it's perpendicular to the wing. Wipe any excess glue that squishes that. Right, now we do the same thing with the other side. Do a quick test fit. Grab our glue, run a thick bead down the edge. Alrighty, stick it in. I like to rotate, start front and rotate back. Just like that. Look at it dead on. Now this is from my perspective. From yours, it would be more like this. Look at it dead on and make sure they're straight up and down, perpendicular to the wing. Alright, now we just let that dry. Alright, very nice. So now all we have to do, pick up our control linkages. So grab the control rod wire, and a pair of pliers, as well as control horns. Just going to grab a pair of pliers, needle nose, like that. Grab it by the end, and you're just going to squeeze it tightly and bend the wire up. Just like that. You're getting a little 90 degree right here. Okay? Grab it as far forward as you can, the pliers, and butt it up to that 90. And now we're going to twist it the opposite direction. Z-bend. we take this wire that we just put a Z-bend into, stick it through the top hole in the servo, bend it up, there you go. Now flip it this way and hold it against the control surface and note where the hinge line is. Grab your pliers and grab it where it's about a centimeter to a centimeter and a half away from the control hinge. Right there. Right, bring these things up and cut the wire. Just like that. Pull this wire back out, just like so. And now we're going to do the same, another Z-bend right here. The thing is, you want to make sure that you're doing it the same rotational axis as the last one you did. Basically, it's parallel, perpendicular, whatever. Not 90 degrees rotated away. Same. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Okay, bend that, bring it up here, bend it the other way. Okay, stick it in, like so. Now, grab your control horn. These are just some cheap ones off Amazon, but they seem to work fairly well. Also put it in the top hole, bring it down, and stick it through. Perfect. Now, this Vortex, it does have a little bit of reflex, aka up elevator, so you're going to make sure your servo is centered, and stick it in. Just want this just to be up just a little bit. This helps so you don't need to use as much trim or sub-trim. Okay, that looks good. Fold it back. And put some glue right there. And push your control on right there. Perfect. Do the same thing with the other side. Great. That is awesome. If you've gotten this far, you are almost ready to throw this plane into the skies. But not yet. There's a couple things we need to do first. Let's take the hatch off. Set it to the side. And let's grab our receiver. It could be a DSMX receiver, Fly Sky. It just depends on what transmitter you're using. This one is a DSM2, because right now I'm using my DX6C transmitter. First things first is plug all your wires into the corresponding ports. And if you're running a Fly Sky, it'll be throttle port 3, and then elevons port 1 and port 2. For this one, since it's in DSM2, DSMX, I'll be plugging throttle into channel 1, and these into channel 2 and channel 3. Now, we will have a video on how to bind your receiver. It's going to be pretty much the same whether it's DSMX or Fly Sky, though we will have both. Alright, make sure they're all the way in. I've already bound this to my transmitter, FYI. I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on the bottom right here. Not much. And we're going to stick it right down here at the back. Just like that. You don't have to worry about it drying or anything. It'll bond almost instantly. Okay, tuck these wires back there. Great. Now I will mention, this plane with this normal power setup right here, you see around here, will balance perfect with the 630 milliamp 3S up in the nose right there. Now if you're running a bigger battery for longer flight times, like let's say a 1300 3S or even a 1004S or even a 1500 4S, you need to put it farther back. Now that is why for this receiver, depending on what battery you plan on running, you got to move it correspondingly. Now this plane will also fly great on an 854S, 853S. It'll fly great. I just like putting this light setup in it for now because it'll fly really nice and smooth and be able to pull some high G turns without the wings folding with the extra weight. Alright, that's great. Now you're going to want to grab your transmitter. Got mine right here. Turn it on. Make sure you have the right model. It says Vortex because I already bound it. Alrighty. And then let's go ahead and plug it in. Perfect. Check our controls. As you can see, since I already centered everything before I went and built this, I don't even need to add any sub trim. Everything's perfect as it is. See, we go up, go down, go right, go left. Now I'm going to show you how to set everything up. Now this is probably going to be different than your transmitter, but I'll just tell you my settings. So I'll go to Expo. For the aileron channel, I want full rate and 38% Expo. For the elevator rate, 100% travel and 42% Expo. And that's it. You have successfully built the Flying Ace Vortex. Put our canopy back on. Great. Now all we have to do is throw the tarp on and hit the skies. Let's go.